Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's your boy, Lucatiki. Well, look who's back. Ms. Valentine. Ms. Armstrong is back in action and reunited, and she feels so good with Intel Ohio. Last month, she was disassembled, and it looked like she was ready to be shipped off-site, but she's none the worse for wear and ready to get back in the action. So let's go ahead and get the drone back in the air to see what's new on this Valentine's Day. I'll direct your attention to the staging lot in the foreground, as there is several pieces of structural steel that have been laid down. Those were not there last month. We'll go ahead and punch on in on the fab to take a look at what's new. And I'm really sorry about the winter sun angles here. The sun is still very low in the sky, and with snow on the ground, it makes it very hard to get a good angle with the drone. But let's go ahead and orbit around here so you can see all the cranes reaching skyward. So we'll take a big pan of the facility. Again, this is nearly 1,000 acres outside of New Albany, Ohio. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the AEP power substation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, separated by those 3 blast walls. That's enough for 500 megawatts, or nearly 500,000 homes. Interestingly enough, Facebook, or Meta, has tried to ink a deal to temporarily take the power from Intel while it's under construction. Speaking of data centers, I thought I'd take a quick view at what's going on contiguous to Intel Ohio. Notice all the cars in the parking lot, and then those 5 very long structural tents that have been erected rather quickly. But here, back on the Intel Ohio site, we'll take a look at some of the support facilities. The parking lot is nearly empty. All of those concrete slabs precast and ready to go for the floors on the fab, both modules 1 and 2. And in the way background, several additional laydown materials. We'll go ahead and take a closer look at some of the supporting infrastructure here. These buildings have really come along in the last year. The columns in the center of the screen are module 2, a second fab to be produced behind the first one. And in the foreground, another infrastructure and support facility building. We'll get a closer look at some of the cranes that support the Module 1 construction. And at the top level is the clean room floor. That's where the bunny-suited technicians will be walking around in very clean conditions to not contaminate the semiconductors during their manufacturing process. So we'll go ahead and pan to the front of the fab, and now you can see coming into view, gives you a good representation of just how far they are. The clean room level is at the top, followed by the subfab level, followed by the utility level at ground level. And just coming into view now is the stalled out office building. No progress on that for the last 6 months or so. Maybe that's what the structural steel is for. So another pan back across just this enormously huge long building. That's the first module, 27.1, and now with these concrete columns, that is module 2. So we'll see if we can see inside the skeleton of this Commodities infrastructure building. Again, this facility, amongst many of the other supporting infrastructure, will help with the various input materials and commodities, liquids, gases, ultra pure, ultra clean. And now we'll take a closer look across the laydown yard. These have been here for as long as I've been flying the drone, the last year and a half, just hanging out. Here we've got, under these green wrappings, several pieces of infrastructure, or things destined for the utility or clean subfab level. Above that in blue, several pressure vessels and tanks. And these blue ones caught my eye. can't get close enough to make out the label, but sure would be interesting to know what those are. And speaking of four, the long rectangular structures are known as cold boxes. These are cryogenically distill the ambient air into its constituent gases. So we'll go ahead and orbit back around the fab, just to give the viewer a sense of the impressive scale of this facility. And as we bring the east side of the facility into view, I'll direct your attention to those dark rectangular chases there. They look like building facades with windows. We'll go ahead and punch on in with the drone. These are air chases. They take the air and recirculate it through the facility. I believe it's coming down through these chases from the interstitial level and pumped into the subfab level, and then pushing up through the clean room floor is my understanding. Here's a closer look at those necessary levels, and then we'll bring the drone on up to give you a better view of the clean room floor. In view should be some of the EUV bays where they'll place those very large, very expensive, very heavy, extreme ultraviolet lithography machines from ASML. And now, as we alluded to in the opening of the call, let's take a look at the major development in this video. Ms. Armstrong is back to life. She's been reassembled with her high performance boom there, double thick. This is a Liebherr LR 12,500, meaning 2,500 metric tons lifting capacity. The second most powerful crane in the world, or crawler crane as it were. Let's go ahead and orbit back around because there's always a crane in the way. A crane to assemble a larger crane. I'd have to go ahead and check my math, but I think each one of those counterweights there is approximately 10 tons, 10 metric tons in weight. If somebody knows better, please let me know in the comments. I'm sure my crane spotters will. But those counterweights, at 10 tons a copy, there are several of them that counterbalance such a large crane. Reassembling Ms. Armstrong can only mean one thing. They're getting geared up for some major lifts. Additional concrete slabs need to be placed both on Module 1 and Module 2. But don't forget about those 150-ton roof trusses that support the interstitial level. So we'll punch back in, see some of the additional materials for Ms. Armstrong. A very busy east side lot with several tanks and other construction materials spread about. The logistics must be unimaginable. Well, that's how Intel Ohio looked this Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2026. Until next time, this is Luca Tiki signing off. Thank you for watching.